To make an effective gun takes a lot of time and parts, but rocket launchers, they're very simple and very effective. To start this off, we're going to make some ammo. I'm going to be using Impact TNT, a trail part, and then a booster to power it found under Insert Tool, Technology, and about halfway down you'll find the booster. The TNT is going to be resized to 10 by 1 by 1 with a 1 by 1 trail part out the front. The trail part is optional. You don't have to have this, I just have it for decoration and so you can see where it's going. The booster is also going to be resized down to a 1 by 1 by 1 and put onto the back. To minimize a bullet drop, we're going to need to make this into wood. If you're going to be making the same ammo as me, do note you're limited to 40. You can see that by copying this part, holding it, and right down here it'll show you the max is 40. If you want the maximum amount of missiles for the setup, because the limit is 40, you're going to need to find a setup that maximizes the amount of missiles you can have while maintaining a look that actually looks decent. Okay, I'm not for that obscure looking. Here are a few designs I created that can handle 40 missiles. Each red dot represents one missile in the launcher. If none of these suit your needs, try to make your own design. I'm going to be choosing this setup right here because it appeals to me the most. You don't have to follow me, this is just an example of how to do this particular one in this tutorial. Alright, next thing to make is the silo. I'm going to be making the silo out of 0.5 part size, so the missiles are closer together. Surround the bullet so that it can't move and it'll have a more straight trajectory when fired. I'm going to be placing magnet on so I can test this missile out and see how it launches. So let's try it out. Something you'll notice right there is that when launched, the missile got stuck in the barrel. That is because this whole barrel, when you turn it into plastic, you'll notice it has all these hash marks on it. That is weld. The missile is welded inside and is stuck to this. So to fix that, we're going to need to make the whole missile unwelded. We're going to do this by going 1H, sides all, select the part, and make sure it is smooth. Then switch to classic, make sure the surface is still smooth, and select all the inside of the barrel. And place the bullet back. And you see now when we test it, the missile will actually fire. Time to finish building the whole silo. Make sure not to forget that every side of the barrels on the inside is smooth. Alright, now that is done, you can go ahead and test to make sure every missile is not welded in its place. Depending on the server lag, sometimes you'll notice some of them will not actually move. But in all of the missiles for this one are indeed not welded. Next is to add the remote firing mechanism. To do that, we're going to need some click delete so we can have them activated by the remote. I'm going to have mine fire in a sequence going down in rows like this, all the way across. So to do that, you're going to need everything detached before the missile can fire. So I'm going to have them on the bottom of each of these a click delete. If I have them on the top, then the missiles will still be welded by the top one above them before they can launch. You can mess it up. And every single missile needs their own separate click delete added to them. In order to get the missiles to fire, you need to go down in a sequence going across. The sequence I chosen is, as you've seen before, going down in the pattern in the crossed over row. In order to get it launched, you need the click delete to be activated, then the booster, so that there's nothing in the way holding up the booster. if you're going to be setting it so it all fires off one keybind, you want them to be off the delay opposite keybind. Delay opposite makes it so that when you press the keybind once, it turns it on. If you have it delay normal, then once you press it once, it turns it off. You have to wait for the whole sequence to go across, then press it again in order to fire them. But you want to fire them instantly, so we're going to have it delay opposite. In my setup, each missile will fire 0.1 of a second later. So for the very first click delete, you're going to want it to be opposite. Then the very first booster is going to be opposite delayed 0.1. Then going on to the next one will be opposite delayed 0.1 for the click delete, and opposite delayed 0.2 for the booster. So on and so forth, going across into your specific pattern you chose. I'm having them delayed one after the other, because if they all fire at once and a missile explodes mid-air, it'll scatter all the shots. So if you have them firing in a stream one after the other, if one explodes, it doesn't affect the ones trailing in behind it. If you did everything right, it should follow the pattern you've chosen, like so. That is really fast. I did not expect it to be that fast for me. Okay. Now that you're done with one part, and if you have duplicates of them, like as I had chosen, then you can just go highlight the whole thing with delete, delete it, load the slot, move the creation, load it in the slot over, oops. Make sure to grab it all, then undo the delete, and there, you have it cloned. So now you don't have to build it twice. For mounting these onto different stuff, there's several ways you can do it. One, you can have the standalone system where you have a hover seat on top of them. And then you grab an aim part full and just add this onto both. As you can see, now you can aim them. That is too much firepower for one person. I love it. Do take into mind when mounting these onto crafts that are very sensitive to weight change and stuff like that, that these do have reverse knockback when firing and will pull themselves forwards. An alternative way to mount it is to delete the hover seats, grab one of these parts, 1H classic, we're going to do motor right on the side because the motor joint is stiffer. We're going to go one resize it both ways so it's right in the center. Get another one on the center on this side too. Grab this part. I'm going to have it mounted from the top of this, so I'm going to resize these poles to, I'd say, about 6. That'd be right. So it has enough room to angle up and down. Add a little overhang bit like that. If you want to connect to the top, make sure the hinge is connecting to the surface where it's not welded to anything else but the hinge itself, because then it won't turn. And then your spacecraft can just, or ship, or whatever it's going to be, mounts right up to the top of that. And if you test it, it is still fully functional and attached to this. That poor Garage 3, I just been constantly launching missiles at it. You know how many clips I had to re-record? And then I just launch again at Garage 3? I don't know, it's convenience right over there, okay?